Rock and roll may live forever, but we only retire once. Kevin Lamour of Our Financial Plans and Quadris Investment Services offers a large range of financial solutions from some of the biggest leaders in the investment and insurance landscape of Canada. See how a solid financial plan built with friendly and professional advice can help. Find out more at ourfinancialplans.ca or give them a call at 705-949-1316. Hey folks, and welcome to another episode of the Lonesome Cowboy Podcast. I'm back finally after 10 days on tour and a week away at the Folk Canada Conference, and I brought home somebody with me in kind of a way. This young lady, I referred to her as the Eddie Van Halen of the fiddle because I just think she rocks, man. And please welcome to the program, my honor, this is Irish Millie. Hi, dear. How you doing?
I am great. How are you doing?
Very good, very good. I caught you at Folk Canada, and man, girl, you are a hell of a player.
Thank you so much. That means a lot to me.
Well, hey, I call it like I see it. I've been. You told me. I think I asked you. You've been at this since you were 6.
6 years old. Yeah.
Wow. Now, I gather you're from a musical type family, I guess, because I know your dad plays with you.
Yes.
Anybody else in the family is hitting the strings?
So actually, my mom's side of the family is not super musical. My dad's side of the family, a lot of them are in the Salvation Army band. So
Oh,
they're
really?
like brass players and singers. But I'm a first generation fiddle player, so nobody else in my family plays the fiddle.
Gotcha. That's incredible. And your dad's just a guitar player, right?
Yeah, he plays guitar. Sometimes he'll do some backup vocals, but mainly just the guitar.
Gotcha. That's awesome. So tell me, at 6 years old, getting started, what was your very first performance? Do you remember that? And how did it go? And what did you play?
Yeah, of course. So I guess you could say that my first performance was at the Peterborough Farmers Market. So I'm from Peterborough, and they have this market at the Morrow Building by the Memorial Center.
Okay.
And I used to go down at about 7 a.m. every Saturday and play for a couple hours. And I started off playing by myself. So the first time I went, it was me. I was standing under an umbrella, I remember, and I was playing, and there was just a group of people around me. I think I was about 9 years old at the time, and they were super fun dancing kind of around this market. Murray at the time wasn't even really playing guitar, so it was just me. And I did a bunch of these shows. It was kind of where I started immediately. So every Saturday I would go. I don't exactly remember the first one, but I do know that I definitely played more old time fiddling music at the time.
Cool. Interesting. Now, you're currently in school, and where are you going and what are you taking?
Yeah, so I'm going to the University of Toronto, particularly the Scarborough campus,
Cool.
and I'm taking music industry and technology, which is a course about production and learning about the music industry. And I'm particularly choosing the audio engineering stream, which means that I'm going to get to learn about audio engineering, I guess. And I'm going to be going to Centennial College, as it's a joint program with the university, and get my BA and my diploma in music at the same time over the next few years, and it's quite fun. I really enjoy it. It's actually I am in the first year of the program, so we're the guinea pigs, I guess you could say.
Wow.
And yeah, it's like a totally new program. I was originally going to go to school for biology, and then this program came up, and I was like, I have to go do this. So
Sure.
where I am.
That's interesting. It's unusual. I've encountered 3 musicians so far who either were morticians and then became musicians, or were musicians and then became morticians.
Oh no.
Yeah, there's a band called My Son the Hurricane. I don't know if you've ever heard them before, the giant brass band. Dano, the drummer, mortician,
Wow. My
and became
goodness.
and became one after he was a musician. How's that?
Oh,
So there you go. That wouldn't be unusual for you to see you in biology. Let's put it that way.
yeah.
So you've won some awards recently, haven't you?
Yeah, so Well, I've been nominated for quite a few awards
Yes. Yeah.
this year. I actually just found out I'm up for two Canadian Folk Music Awards,
Wow.
which is super big for me, and I'm really, really excited. I know they're in Calgary this year, and I'm gonna get to go and see all these amazing musicians, and just an honor to be nominated. In the past, I've been up for five other Canadian Folk Music Awards, and I've always gone to the awards, and it's been so much fun. Just hearing the music and the talent, and getting to be there with all those amazing people.
Hmm.
Um, I won my hometown's emerging artist award.
Nice.
Uh, about 2 years ago, and that was a really big deal for me, because Peterborough is just, as a community, has always supported me coming up in music, and without them I wouldn't be where I am right now at all, because of the opportunities that they've really helped me get to and come across. And Recently at FMO, I was up for Performing Artist of the Year.
That's
Uh,
right.
yeah, so I know that we were both there.
Yep.
And I went on the Thursday night and I got to see the Angelique Francis Band. I don't know if you saw them over the weekend. Uh,
I don't remember. I caught so many going on, but I don't think I got that one.
and they were doing the announcements for this award show, so I got to go there as well for the nomination. And I was
That's
just
nice.
honored to be nominated with all those amazing performing artists.
There you go. Good stuff. It's nice when you get nominated and you didn't know you were being nominated.
Yes.
Yeah, exactly. I've always I'm always the thing about it when it comes to awards and stuff like that. I'm always um, uh, I'm like, well, yeah, whatever. If I get one, I get one. If I don't, but if you get nominated, it's almost like, hey, that's cool. Someone else thinks it's a good thing. So that's sometimes better that way, if you ask me.
Exactly. I love that.
Yeah, exactly. Um, Now here's always a question I wanted to ask an instrumental composer, and being that you are a fine one as it is, when it how do you know when a song is going to be okay, this is going to be an instrumental, or you say, got to have lyrics on that?
Oh,
Or is
interesting.
there a choice, or do you just say, no, I'm writing an instrumental song and that's it, or this is going to have lyrics and that's it, or do they morph? How does it work?
So this is interesting because I started off as fully being instrumental, and
Okay.
whenever I would write, vocals wasn't even an option, right? Because I wasn't singing, so it was always just like, oh, I came up with a new riff. That's an instrumental tune. I'm going to make that into a tune. And because I'm on a fiddle, and I'm so used to just playing instrumental, everything was just super strictly instrumental. And then when I started singing, mainly how I would get my instrumental tracks was I would go to the guitar, and I also put that in its own category. I'd play the guitar and I'd be like, this is a vocal song, sorry. And they mainly stayed apart for a really long time, and it was like only until this EP that I put out, where I have a track called Allison, did they kind of come together, because I remember writing this jig, and then I remember wanting to write some sort of vocal piece, inspired by like the East Pointers Halfway Tree, and I ended up thinking, well, what if I put this jig into like a vocal piece as like an interlude, or something like that, or used it to kind of hum along with it, and that's when
Ah,
they came together for me. So, truth be told, it's always been very separate, and I've always just kind of gone in with the mindset, this is what I'm writing, and I usually end up coming out in the end with that. But this is the only song I've written, Allison, that came out with both. There's the instrumental aspect, there's the vocal aspect, and I wasn't really expecting that because they were the tunes were separate at first.
gotcha. Well, to me, writing instrumental songs is to me the closest thing to coming to real magic. And
Yes.
watching some of these composers, guys like John Williams and stuff like that, and write the parts for all these things. I've always thought instrumental composers were on another level in the world. So that's where I see you in that respect. So you perform with your dad. And I see you on stage a lot with just you and him. Is there ever been a full Irish Millie band that you've ever had? The whole deal?
So when I was really young, I used to play with like my full family band. So my cousin sings and my dad plays the guitar, obviously, and we have some people who like to drum and stuff. And we used to have this little band called Cork that we would play in.
Oh,
And it
cool.
wasn't really like my band, but I will say that a lot of the stuff we did was instrumental, and I had like lead parts in it, so you could say that. Um,
Hmm.
really had like a full band, even though on a lot of my albums it's depicted that there is a full band behind me as I'm playing. I've never played like a show with a full band, and I don't have a set full band, if that makes sense.
Yeah, no, completely. Um, so with having your father in play, performing with you, are there any challenges that come with that?
Yeah, so I would say my dad is really, really easy to work with because he does it solely for fun. Like obviously for me, it's my career, and so
Correct.
I take like he. I know he takes it seriously. He puts so much effort into it, but to him, um, he is very, very like down to do whatever I want to do, wherever I want to take that, which
Gotcha.
I really love. And he never tries to take control over really anything unless I ask, like, "What's your thoughts on this?" or whatever. But he definitely is super easy to work with for me. I know sometimes we get at each other's nerves because we do live together, like in the summer and stuff. So, like, obviously, if you live with anybody for a long period of time, it's going to be hard. But especially when you're related, it's really easier. It's much easier to be hard on the people who you're related to and who you love. So, when we have band fights, they tend to probably be a lot bigger than the average band fight because we're so close. But I would say now after like growing a bit, me maturing a bit more, we haven't really been having anything go wrong with our duo, and we tend to get along really, really well. And I like to say that I think it's better that we are related because it means that we can always kind of hang out and practice, and it's way more convenient, if that makes
Gotcha.
sense.
Yeah.
And then it's also really easy to tell each other the hard things, like when somebody isn't playing something right, and it's not like we take offense to that because we know, like we've been together since I was in the womb, and so it's okay when we tell each other these things. So I really like it. I consider him like my best friend. So
That's
uh,
awesome.
yeah, it's really great.
Yeah. Well, you see, with parents, and I mean, the coming from this old guy here, my parents, I don't know about my father, but my mother, she was also a musician and in Europe, and she played in an orchestra, and so did my uncles and the whole deal. But my mother never supported me taking it up as a career. So it was always one of those things of, well, you got to have something to fall back on. There's always that fall back on kind of business. So to have that kind of thing with your dad, I find is refreshing. And I'm actually finding more parents are being supportive of their younger kids getting into the music business nowadays. And I think that's really fantastic. I don't know if you have friends and stuff like that are in the similar situations as you, but that's what I've noticed anyways.
Yeah, I totally noticed that too. It's definitely something that's totally being looked at more openly now.
Yeah, yeah, exactly. Which is finally, thank you.
Yes.
Yeah,
Yeah.
exactly. Yeah, I know when you always tell somebody you're going to grow up to be a musician, they yeah, I want to be a musician and or whatever you want to be, and they kind of give you that look of like, yeah, okay, sure.
Yeah. Yeah.
You're going to starve or whatever, you know. So there you go. Now, music usually starts out as a hobby for us people who play, and then it becomes a vocation sometimes.
Yeah.
Now, so what are the hobbies? And I found some interesting hobbies of musicians, from race car driving to, an active outdoors person kind of thing. So, what does Irish Millie do when Irish Millie for fun when Irish Millie is not playing fiddle?
Yeah, this is interesting. I would say right now I'm so busy with everything. I haven't had a lot of time to do like my own hobbies, but in when I do have time to do those things, that
Yes.
other than music, of course, because music is right at the top for me. I would say I'm definitely a really active person. I used to be on a cross country team, track
Oh,
and field.
okay.
So I love running, and being outside in nature and everything. I've had a lot of kind of hobbies over my life, I guess, because I've I've gotten the chance and opportunities very gratefully to try a lot of different things. But
Nice.
I've but running has always been really good. I love to swim, and that's something I've always loved. So if I'm not playing music, sometimes I will be swimming and running and doing these really active things. And then the other thing that I really, really enjoy, I guess, is kind of a visual art. So I love photography, even though I don't do it seriously at all. I just find it's very very fun art, and visual art is in like painting and drawing. And throughout high school, I kind of discovered that I had this love for visual arts, so I started doing that as well. And
Good.
it comes in handy later with music because then you end up making your own album covers and
Yeah,
stuff.
no kidding. Yeah.
Yeah,
So did have you contributed to your own album art?
I have. So I do some graphic design for some of my singles, or actually all of my singles that I've done, except for You Were There and Allison, which were done by a friend of mine who is a painter. And then I did the whole Grace album was my design. So
Oh,
that,
really?
yeah, so that kind of came out more just like my digital design stuff, but I
Yeah.
had a lot of fun making it for sure. So,
Well, I got to tell you, because that was the one I thought you hired somebody for.
no, thank you. That's
And I went, oh no, that one's really a standout. And I went, no, no, you're just getting better at it. That's all. That's fantastic. Hey, Millie, I was looking at your merch. Not usually something I do to prep for an interview, but I had to. Um, Tell me all about how the Dance Like Murray merch came out, came about, and what that saying is. Dance like Murray's watching.
Yeah, so originally it was just my merch, and I've had kind of a line going for quite a few years. And then one day we were kind of joking in the car on the way back from a show that we were playing, or a festival or something, I think.
Hmm.
And I was like, "Oh, imagine if you had merch, Murray. Like that would be great because I'm sure that it would sell like really fast." And we kind of had this joke because my merch it sells like kind of around, but I was joking that he would definitely get more sales than me because obviously it's Murray and he's like way cooler. And so I decided when I was in high school, like I was in this class that was, this is the true story, but I was in this class and I was really bored, so I decided to make Murray a merch line. And it started off with just being the shirts and the hats that say Murray on them, and they have the photo of Murray, which I thought was super funny. And then I pitched it to the people who run my store, my online store, and they're like, "Yeah, we'll put that in there." And so they put it in at the bottom as the Clan of Murray merch, so people, if they want to find it, that's what they go.
I
And
love it.
I showed Murray, and he was like, "Oh, you did not do that." And I was like, "Yeah." And actually, some of it has sold, which is really really funny. It's awesome. And then I thought to myself, because my dad often does the picking of the colors and the designs for my merch, I was like, well, I should probably make him another kind of merch. And that's where the Dance Like Murray's Watching came out, because we had this brilliant photo of him on the stage doing this dance. And I was like, you know what?
I
Like,
saw that.
the saying is dance like no one's watching, but maybe just it should be dance like Murray's watching, and people find that funny. And so I just came up with that. I was like, let's just put this on the shirt, the hat, whatever it is.
Yeah.
And so that's kind of how that all came. It came out of totally a place of humor, and then it actually got a lot of sales and stuff. And so you're like, oh, this is good. Like, hey, great line, like it's super cool. Yeah.
Yeah, I love it. Um, and this is something I saw on one of your EPs. You introduce it with your wonderful little Irish accent that you put on. And maybe you can tell me, because maybe this is something traditional I'm not familiar about. You have a couple of tracks there, and one's called Millie's uh, Jig Set, I think,
Yeah.
and then you have Murray's Set. And so the fact that you play three tunes and then you introduce it like that, is that something that's a trad thing? Because I've never seen that before in an album.
So actually, the producer who did that first album where I was talking in between, he was my first producer. He's my mastering engineer now and masters all my music. But it
Cool.
was his suggestion to do the introductions in between, because he said, I feel like because you have a stage persona and you're known for this accent and this culture that you kind of bring to stage, you should do these little speeches in between. So I will say it's non-traditional. Like from what I know, from what I've heard from fiddle music and albums, most people don't really introduce on an album. If
Hmm.
they do, they introduce like every single song. But his idea was totally all him, and he said you should just introduce these few pieces, have a little line at the beginning, and so yeah, that's where that came from fully. And I wasn't expecting to do that at all, but it turned out to
Hmm.
be really good.
Interesting. That's yeah, because I sat there going, that's interesting. I've never seen that before. And good on you for doing it, because it's a standout. I'll tell you that. Yeah, it really is a standout. So, music business. What a world we try to work in. What's your biggest challenge, music business related, that you're having right now?
Okay, interesting. This is a good question. I like these questions. I don't usually get good questions. They're always all the same. So you're
Thank you.
making it today. I feel like I'm actively
Putting
prepared.
you to the test here.
Yeah. So I think there's two things that are kind of pretty equal. One is I know that you know this, but music and kind of how big you are in the world comes down a lot to
Oh
social
yeah,
media.
of course.
So it's like, how many followers do you have? How many likes do you have? How many views? How many people are seeing this and who's seeing it? And so it's like that is a big thing when you're applying for stuff. When you're applying for awards, when you're
Yes.
applying for whatever, it's like, oh well, this person, they don't have as big of an audience, and it really depends on the award or the festival you're going to. But oftentimes that's really helpful if you have like a big amount of people following you. The one of the things that I noticed is that um, my crowd of people that have been following me from the beginning, a lot of them just don't really use social media, and that's totally fine. It's just then it's like there's not a great representation. There's a good representation. I've definitely like worked to build my social media over the last little bit, but there's not like the biggest representation of like how many people actually do follow me and who follows me, because social media is not like the greatest like average of that, if that makes sense. And then the second thing that I've been kind of dealing with lately is I am self-represented, so I don't actually have somebody who books my shows or calls people for me or um, registers me for stuff and applies to awards and festivals. I do all that by myself. So a big part of it is that is super time consuming, and it takes away kind of from all the other things that I'm doing, or even just my practice time, like what I'm trying to do.
Yeah.
And so I am looking for somebody to in the future to help me find bookings, to help me do my websites, to help me apply. So that's an industry thing for sure.
So, and that's another question that I've asked a few artists, and some have actually turned down record contracts and other things from music business type people. Um, is that something that you would strive for, to have a label, or is it something that you have a caution about?
I don't know. I think it's always important to read the fine print when you look at those things, but I think an offer from a reputable label would be really big for me, even if it didn't end up working out in the end. I feel like I would definitely be looking for that now, of course. Uh,
Hmm.
but like, as there is with everything, there's always like little things you have to watch out for. You got to make sure you're being treated properly and your art's being, represented fairly, and you're not selling what you've written to somebody else and they get all the credit. Or so there's all these little things, but it's definitely something that I would love to have happen.
Cool. Yeah, wouldn't we all, eh? But it's just got to make it fit into your world. Let's put it that way. And what you've built. That's the big trick.
Yes,
You've played Europe, have you?
I have.
So tell me all about that. I'm curious as to, you have your Canadian audiences. Tell me about a European audience, and is there any difference between the two? What did you notice maybe that made you go, "Ooh, these folks are cool," or "Ooh, these folks are crazy," or something?
Interesting thing was when I got asked to do that tour, I thought it was totally not never going to happen because it was a Facebook thing, and I was like, "Oh, Facebook is like a little bit iffy sometimes. I don't know if this is gonna if this is real. Like this may never happen." And then I actually ended up going, and it was a month of just like totally amazing opportunities. There was definitely some like cultural shock here and there, like with the way that your music is accepted, how people react to it, of course. But the
Uh-huh.
whole tour itself was like brilliant. I think I really enjoyed it, and I have lasting relationships for sure from that experience. One of the things I noticed when I went to my first festival is that when I would play, there were often like the people who go to these festivals in Denmark specifically, which is where I was for the most part. They would dance, but they would dance very, very well. It wasn't just like random dancing. It was like they had like this organized like dancing that they would do to my music. And I found it super fascinating because some of the songs I was playing were my own songs that they'd never heard before. And so I was like, how are you dancing to like my music right now? This is really cool. So there's a huge thing over there that I then found out after asking a few people at the festival, and they were like, yeah, dancing and music is like it's necessary to go together. Like without the dancing, the music is like meh, but we need the dancing and then we can actually feel the music. And I thought that was like the most brilliant thing ever.
Nice.
So I got to learn how to do like a bunch of the dances that they were doing to my music, but it definitely was something completely different because when I play here, it's like people will sit and have a drink at the bar, or they'll sit, or sometimes they'll come up and, do a little dance, but it's not really like serious, and it's not like we're going out because we're going to hear some music and we're going to dance. It's we're going out to hang out with friends and hear some music.
Yeah.
And so it's a really different thing, but I really enjoyed that part.
That's cool. So, did you notice anything like with the audiences, like in Canada, they have a tendency to be just yappy, 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 and you're back there doing your thing, and then they'll pay attention every once in a while. I, at least I've never experienced it, but from what I think I've noticed that a European audience is very attentive.
Yeah, so I mean, even at these festivals where you're right, totally like in the Canadian culture, you might have like a lot of talking, a lot of whatever. They are very, very attentive to what you're playing. So I played festivals, I played regular gigs, I played at schools, and the minute you would start playing, people were just like eyes on you, they're watching you. It was very, very active audience. And there
Hmm.
were definitely passive audiences that I played over there, but definitely not as much as I play here.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
Interesting. Irish Millie, did you know that that's also the name of a racehorse in Australia?
I did not.
No, now you know. Okay, Irish Millie, please tell the people where they can find out about you and your music and your stuff. Tell them where they can find you.
Of course. So my website is irishmillie.ca. Super original title, obviously. And I'm also on Facebook and Instagram, just Irish Millie Fiddle Tunes. I've started kind of a little show on TikTok called Dorm Tunes, and the
Ah,
handles
yes, yes.
dorm.tunes.
I saw
So
those.
yeah, so I post a tune every day, and so people can find me on there. On my website, I have a contact card where people can directly email me, and then I also have all the merchandise on there, my CDs, my lists of shows coming out, my past shows. So all the things are mainly on the website.
Outstanding. Millie, I just think you're fantastic. You make me energized when I watch you, and it's just so cool. And when you did your version of The Devil Went Down to Georgia, I went, now there you go. That's what I like.
Thank you so much. I really
Yeah.
appreciate that.
Please do check her music out, follow her career, folks, because you're going to be able to say, I remember when, because I know that's where you're going, man. I know it.
Thank you so much, Brian. It's been a delight to chat with you, and
Hey,
so lovely. And so I hope we can do it again sometime.
I hope so too. Thank you.